We can finally welcome Jao Pedro to Chelsea Football Club, as this afternoon he is officially announced. But that's not only that, we have big updates and big insights you guys can't afford to miss out on this afternoon. So I hope you guys show some love, hit that like button, and very quickly, yes, I do have some videos on Jao Pedro. They are going to come out in time tomorrow morning, so stay tuned for that, my friends. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's discuss today's latest reports. We start with things, my friends, and we discuss the announcement of Jao Pedro. Let's go to the club's official website to learn the first words said by Jao Pedro. Yeah, you guys know I'm here for this move, man. I rate this guy quite a lot. And as we know, he has put pen to paper on signing a 7-year deal, and the fee was around 55 million plus 5 mil in add-ons. As Pedro says, listen, everyone knows this club is a big club with great history. They had brilliant players in the past and have brilliant players now. So I'm excited to join. And you know, when you're a Chelsea player, you must think one thing: win. That's the reputation that we've built for ourselves, yeah? Obviously, last season, 10 goals, 6 assists. I think it's a good, showcase for a player that played more of a facilitator role compared to playing a box role. But stay tuned for the deep dive tomorrow to get the actual full context on what to expect, because I don't think there's enough stuff out there that's really putting you guys on properly onto what to expect from Pedro's game and how he can translate that here at Chelsea Football Club. So it's great to see very quick words on Jao Pedro, and I'm really excited to see the signing here right now. We do have even more words to come from him though. His first official club interview. And as Pedro himself says here, listen, I grew up watching the Premier League, and Chelsea were a club that won trophies. So when you join Chelsea, you can only think one thing, which is to win them. Every competition you have to think, I play for Chelsea, this is my ambition. And for a guy like him who has that competitive spirit in him, yeah, this isn't cap. This is like a real thing that's part of his game. He also detailed, interestingly, his slight relationship with David Luiz. As he says, I'm close a little bit to David Luiz. I spoke to him, not about Chelsea, but about my career and how I could develop better. He helped me, and this is one of the reasons why I love Luiz. Not only was he a brilliant football player, a bit underrated, but in terms of like a human being, how he is with the squad for young players, I mean, yeah, the guy is, yeah, phenomenal, top class. Now we can see a few photos of Jao Pedro modeling in Miami right now. Yeah, man, footballers, they live the maddest lifestyle, don't they? Like, this guy was in Brighton, and then was in Brazil. Now he's in Miami in the space of like 3-4 days. But anyway, it's great to see him, because the exciting thing is, you guys, he is not in Miami for holiday or for media shoots, but that's because he is set to take part in the Club World Cup, as he has been registered already in time for the knockout round qualification. So get ready, Palmeiras, and I'm really excited to see the hunger Pedro is going to bring up first appearance, and I'm curious to see how Maresca is planning on using him. Now, I respect the fact that we are missing out on maybe certain offensive options at the moment, so he could be forced to make some small tweaks, or he may use this as an opportunity just to experiment to see how he might have certain ideas for Jao Pedro. But anyway, my friends, that's that. One of the surprise moves of the window for sure. Jao Pedro is here as a Chelsea player. So my guys, share your thoughts and opinions on this story. Are you here for this move? Are you kind of against it? Like, what's the thoughts that's going through your heads at the moment? Like, I'm really curious to know, my friends. But in the meantime, we have more updates and reports to get through today as we discuss the latest on Noni Madueke. My friends, I'm giving you guys some updates now based on things I'm hearing at the moment, and it does seem like Noni Madueke will be one of the next players that we are looking now to do some business for. Now, I'm sure you guys have been seeing all the reports coming out recently surrounding Noni. A lot of interesting things happening at the moment. We know that Arsenal are heavily interested, and one thing I can tell you guys is that Arsenal actually have in fact low-key made an offer for Madueke. Now, this is being kept under wraps. You guys, as we know, Arsenal now looking to make moves for Eze, which I think makes a lot of sense for them, and also in Noni Madueke as well too. I can't tell you exactly what this offer is and what the value is for him at the moment. I'm not too sure, but I do know that they have low-key made a secret bids and move for the player. So let's watch the space. Let's see what materializes. But in the meantime, though, you guys, I'm kind of accepting the fate around Noni. And in terms of evaluation, the club want around like 45 million fixed fee minimum with add-ons included on top. So these could rise to as high as 55 to 60, but it fully depends on the transfer battle for his signature. That is what can ultimately raise his value and raise his price. So let's continue to watch this space. But Arsenal aren't the only ones expressing an interest in him. From what I was hearing, Atletico Madrid are also lurking seriously in the shadows right now, and they are really monitoring the situation to see what happens with Madueke. So watch out for Atletico Madrid coming in with a late move. But in the meantime, you guys, it does make sense to me that clubs now are going to start to present offers. I was telling you guys, now that we're making certain deals happen, expect to see a reaction now in the market. And we know that Newcastle, Arsenal, and now Atleti are like three of the strong clubs looking at the player right now. Newcastle at the moment might be last in the pecking order. They've prioritized certain other positions, and ideally they have to sell someone first before they can confidently reinvest those funds into signing someone else. Now, ideally, man, I'm hoping Noni realizes, listen, Atleti, hopefully something materializes there. I'd rather he goes abroad than playing for our London rivals. I don't want to strengthen Arsenal. That makes no sense to me. And I feel like at Atleti, Noni could kind of safeguard his national team spot there, right? Especially as you've seen like Trippier and Gallagher. And many like English players have a lot of joy playing there. So let's continue to watch this space. But that is the news to tell you guys. Arsenal have already made a secret offer for Noni, and come on, from seeing him as a mission in recent games at the Club World Cup, it was kind of painting a picture that he was probably set to bounce right. So that's the latest on Noni out of the way, but we do have updates on Nicolas Jackson. So I want to just give you guys a bit of update and context around what's going on with him at the moment. And from what I'm hearing around Nico Jackson, expect to see a situation where Man United's potential move for Ollie Watkins is going to play a decisive factor and part behind Villa having the funds, of course, to then make that move for Nico Jackson. Now, apologies for why things are looking a bit all over the place right now. That's the difficult thing about running an OBS news channel. I can only get better with time, you guys. But let's go to the reports, because these reports are factual. These reports are real. But yes, Ollie Watkins could be a serious striker United turn towards, because they see him as that replacement to Højlund. So that is pretty interesting there. Sorry, you guys, give me 1 sec. I don't know what's going on in terms of the setup. It can just kind of bug out sometimes. It really frustrates me. But naturally, you guys, you can kind of do the math and put 2 and 2 together, right? Obviously, if Villa sell Watkins, which they're very inclined to do because of PSR constraints, naturally, of course, they'll be looking for a replacement. And as I've told you guys already, and as reports have also confirmed, Villa have strong interest in Nico. And as I've told you already, Nico was open to a move to Villa because of Unai Emery, as he was his original mentor to actually put him on and coach him in the striker role. So that is the one to watch out for. This is where there's a lot of merry-go-round effects now that can happen in the market. And who would have thought that it would have taken Ollie Watkins being the catalyst for all this change, because United are not securing their top striker options, and they're going down their shortlist. But I think Watkins would be, pretty sensible, reasonable buy. And what's interesting is that our new signing in Jao Pedro actually rates Watkins really highly, even more than Erling Haaland. So you can debate that with him as you want. So let's watch the space. But one thing I can confidently tell you, the club are more than happy to see both Nico and Noni leave. And right now we're seeing movements happening now to seal their exits away from the football club. So that's that news out of the way, my friends. Let's now tackle other reports as I can give you guys some context on what is happening surrounding Mohamed Kudus. So give me a sec to kind of make sense of what's going on right now. Bro, this is actually like the most annoying thing doing this OBS thing. I kind of miss my old setup a little bit, I'll be honest with you guys. I definitely miss how easier it was to make things happen. But bear with me. Let me just like set everything up right now. But my friends, Mohamed Kudus, some interesting updates and reports to discuss at the moment, because yes, we desperately want Kudus. Yes, I'm sure you guys have been seeing reports surrounding Spurs' interests in signing him. As I told you guys already, Kudus is prioritizing a move to us, but we have to be sensible. The only possibility this move doesn't go through is if all of a sudden unknown market opportunities open up, which forces us to maybe reconsider our plans on Kudus to sign someone else. But at the moment, that is the only possibility that could lead towards a deal not happening, because Kudus prefers signing for us over Spurs. Now, from what I'm hearing, we really want him that bad that it might not even necessarily take us having to sell players first before we engineer a move for him. So that is interesting, because we don't want to miss out on his talents. We don't want to miss out on what he can do. Now, Spurs are kind of longing their own lives out. They've made a 50 mil offer, but the issue is that it's still under West Ham's values. Now, West Ham have said, listen, we're already putting Kudus on a big discount in the market right now. He had an 85 mil release clause. We aren't, willing to accept that type of money because we are under PSR constraints. Kudus is our most high value player that we can sell for maximum profit, but until we sell him, we can't do any movements in the market. We can't really engineer or secure anything right now. So this is why there is a willingness for West Ham, of course, to drop their asking price and expectations to engineer a sale to a suited club. So let's continue to watch this space. But it's great to know that the club now are gearing up to make this offensive for Kudus. That will be one of the final offensive players we look towards. But you know what, you guys, I don't want to even give you too much hope, but that one thing I keep hearing about low-key is in a very, very low-key piece of news, is that interest in Gyökeres hasn't necessarily died. But then I don't want to put too much into it. It doesn't make too much sense for me. I just can't imagine Gyökeres alongside all these attacking players, knowing that Maresca ideally wants 3 in midfield. You're going to cause this guy to lose even more hair than what he's already lost already, right? So I don't know about those reports, and I think personally it's sounding a little bit too greedy if we're still eyeing something for him. But I don't know. At the moment, I feel like this could be maybe data news, but let's watch this space. But in the meantime, Kudus will be the next to come. Of course, we wanted to engineer a few sales first as well, which is already happening, and movements are happening now to let go of other players that we would sell if the values are high for them. So yeah, man, I can't believe there's a big opportunity that I'll be seeing my countryman playing for us. And I think that attack of Kudus and Palmers and JOAO Pedros and Estevals, this is serious, man. This is absolute levels, and I'm really excited to see what Maresca could do with an attack this good and this dangerous. So my friends, that's that news out the way. And now for the next story, we have some surprising reports suggesting that Sunderland have now agreed a shock deal to sign Jao Pedro for 25 million euros on a 5-year deal. Now, this story was broken by Sasha Tavolieri, the Belgian reporter, and he reports that Sunderland right now are going on a madness. That's 3 players secured. Habib Jara, former teammate of Petrovic at Strasbourg for around 30-ish million pounds. They've signed another attacking player from Belgium, something Zadodiki, I feel. But Petrovic is a massive coup, because I personally thought that this guy would be going up a level in his career now. I thought he was going to play for a European team at least, like Europa League or Champions League. It does seem like the asking price has put off many clubs who don't want to pay that money. But Sunderland, to sign a great player like Petrovic, you have to pay extra, right? And I guess for us, we're more inclined to receiving max value of money compared to what's best for a player's career, because it doesn't really matter. So it's a bit of a shame, that I have to say. Give me one sec, you guys. I think Petrovic was a player that the fan base always felt like there was a lot more to come from him, but wasn't really given those opportunities or moments. And I guess in the end, he didn't decide to go to the Club World Cup. You know, that kind of sealed his own fate personally, but maybe in hindsight, that was a bit of a mistake. I understand the reports around Magnon, but I think just being around the squads and the training group could have opened up possibilities. But maybe Petrovic isn't thinking about that. Maybe the honest truth is that he just wants to leave and he just wants to go somewhere and be in a more stabled environment. So I guess good luck to him, but that is great profit for us, and we're starting to bring in deals now for sales, which is definitely extremely helpful. So share your thoughts and opinions on that, my guys. But now let's move on to the next story, and let's discuss the latest surrounding youth recruitment. Now, there was an interesting story that came out as we tried to snap a wonder kid from Genoa. His name goes by Onis Anoa. He's a left back or left-sided player who can play as a centre back, left back, and left wing back, currently at Genoa. And we've tried to sneak in near the end to beat Atlanta to his signature. Now, Genoa wanted 15 million fixed fee plus 5 million in add-ons, and reports claim we made an aggressive approach to try and sign the teenager. However, we have lost out to the deal. He has decided, in fact, to go to Atlanta now. But it's just kind of interesting that this was a player that we were really serious about making moves for. Especially for that price value. Like, there's no way he would have been a loan player going to Strasbourg. I don't think that would have made any sense, right? Not when they have like Diegzi doing bits there for them at the moment, and Valentin Barco. And you know, it's always a reminder that we move in the shadows a lot more than we actually realize. And I don't know, I thought Hato was like the main option we're turning to at the moment, but maybe we saw another opportunity for a guy who's 17 years old. He made 6 appearances with Genoa under Patrick Vieira. He does look like a promise. I think physically he's built. He's like, over 6 foot. He's like, 79, 80 kilograms already. You're seeing him in the videos. He doesn't look like he's a teenager. Let's keep it real. But we have in fact lost out to him because Atlanta offered a better pathway and career map than what we could at the moment. So hey, that's a piece of insight I thought you guys might find a little bit interesting. But in the meantime, of course, let's discuss the latest on Chelsea players. And it does look like we are finally going to see Tyree George and Samuel Smith getting loan moves. Now, in the case of Samuel Smith, he's attracting a ton of interest now from championship clubs. They include teams such as Middlesbrough. They include other teams such as Stoke, even Rangers from Scotland. So that's one to watch out for. For me, man, it's pretty simple. The fact that he didn't go to the Club World Cup squad kind of tells me the club just don't maybe value him at that level just yet. I'm saying from the club's perspective, not mine. But if I'm keeping it real, it also communicates, okay, what's his long-term future here really at Chelsea Football Club? Especially when you have Denaire coming next year, and when we're clearly looking to sign someone that can play in his position. I can say the same thing for Tyree George. Yeah, he looks promising, but with all the offensive recruitment we have, I don't see any long-term future for him here. And in my opinion, you guys might think it's cynical, but for me, I see the club viewing these guys as the next big PSR, pure profit Cobham guys they could maybe get, you know, like 6-7 figures for in the future. Tyree George could definitely benefit from a loan move now. I'd be curious to see what positions he's played in and how he's used. Interestingly, I feel like he's looked more promising playing in this, like, do we call it the Jao Pedro role? But we've signed senior players for that role over him. I wouldn't really use him out wide long term. So I'm curious to see what happens for him in that case. But for both players, man, I'll be very surprised in the future if any of them made it consistently in our team. I just think with the movements we're making in the market and players who are set to come in the future like Kinder, I just don't think there's a career path for these guys anymore. But again, the responsibility for the club is to maximize their careers, and if they one day become guys who are sold for 15, 20, whatever million, you know, then I guess that's a win for everyone, right? So my friends, that's all the latest news and reports. Share your thoughts and opinions, and I'll catch you guys with more videos later on. Cool.